Greetings, my name is Rudimentar Rob. Welcome back to my Valheim Hardcore series. Today is going to be very metal. Get out the old headbanging music. We're going medieval with our metal. Nah, just kidding. We're going to be harvesting and smelting a bunch of metal, including a whole bunch that I did in a previous episode/session. I've had a bit of an interruption in my schedule, more on that in a moment, but we've just jumped in our boat. We've headed up to our first little copper camp that we had. As you can see, a whole bunch of copper there has already been smelted. Whoa, doesn't that look like a bunch? Well, yeah, you're going to see it's not going to last that long, but anyway, we're going to be transporting a bunch of this back to the main base, and then more things are going to evolve from there. So, let's see how we get on this episode. Alright, while the weather improves in the background, I'll just give you a bit of an update on my schedule interruption. It's purely been a technical one, I have to say. I've been moving ahead, as I've indicated a couple of times previously. I've been moving ahead with my plans to move away from Windows as my primary operating system for recording and playing games and all that other stuff. And I've been researching and sort of enhancing and doing all this stuff in the background to try and get a Linux install up and running. Now, I had a few setbacks with that because I accidentally nuked my Windows partition, but yeah, anyway. Though that's been going on really well in the background. Not the nuking of my Windows platform, but the whole Linux install, the research. I believed I had all of the bits and pieces all completely sorted out. So much so that yesterday, which was, Friday the 25th of April, which coincidentally was also Anzac Day, and it's a national public holiday in Australia, so I took that as a opportunity to do a little bit of let's get things done. Yeah, I got a whole episode put together. I started doing my narration. I encountered a minor audio bug, but then I went back to the original sound files and there wasn't an issue, so I thought, hey, it's just, one of these little rendering glitches kind of thing. So I went ahead, finished off the episode, exported it, played it back, and yeah, no, I had some corruptions occurring at the start of each of my, narrations, like I am doing now, except here, I'm not having these issues. More on that in a moment. Long story short, I wasted about half of my Anzac Day trying to troubleshoot what this particular issue was, and the best I could get is it's just a buggy version of Shotcut. I was doing all of the same settings, everything that was in common between my Windows install and Linux install as far as the shortcut preferences go. They were all absolutely identical. So much so that I actually took some shortcut files across that I'd made in Windows, opened them up in Linux. I could export them in Linux, not a problem. Where the issue was is audio files that were recorded on Linux, even though it seemed to be using all of the same stuff. When those voice files were put over the top of, the rest of the game clip, so to speak, I was getting this weird little thing that was popping up within about 2 or 3 seconds of the start of each clip. So that it was such a minor thing, but it was incredibly frustrating, and in the end I actually didn't find a solution. So shortcuts in the bin. at the moment. It works fine on my Windows install, and I can use it to work with things that were already set up on the Windows side of things. I can copy those over to Linux, no problem at all. But to do any new projects on the Linux side of things, yep, not going to happen. Not until there's a bug fix or something for that. And from deeper researches, it seems this sort of glitchiness just happens from time to time with certain setups, and Linux being a much smaller market, often these things just slip through and there may not ever be a solution. So in preparation for that, I thought, alright, time to do some more research. What other software can I use to record and edit videos? Well, actually not record because I use OBS, but to piece together my episodes, do my narrations, just basically make it so that my workflow was no different, just move it to a different piece of software. So I did some more research, plenty of options out there that are dual platform. I tried a couple, including Kden Live, and I've got to say I was very disappointed with Kden Live. It was behaving fairly okay when I was testing it, but then I'd get to doing some really seemingly basic stuff and it would crash, like lock up, it would do all sorts of stuff. And that was in Windows. I didn't even get it to Linux. So I did not see that that was boding particularly well. And anytime I went anywhere near researching the source of these particular crashes, I kept coming across historical, this causes it to crash, that causes it to crash, the wind changing directions. Well, no, not really, but you get the idea. That I got a general sense that most people who are long-term adopters of Kden Live have established that stability is just something you have to put up with, or rather a lack of stability. That does not work for me. If stuff does not work or cannot be, patched up to work in a way that is essentially bulletproof, so, I work for a living, I am not going to spend half of my normal editing time re-exporting things because it crashed the first time. That is just completely unacceptable. So I pushed all that aside as well, and through some, chats with people and research with people, and thank you anyone who has contributed to that discussion, I've gone with DaVinci. DaVinci, initially I looked at it and it felt like overkill for the reasonably basic edits. My very rudimentary brand felt like DaVinci Resolve was just so much overkill. But in the end, I relented. In fact, this exact episode I am editing and putting together in DaVinci Resolve 19, just the free version for now, just so I can get it all tested out and make sure it all works on my Windows. So that's where we're at the moment. I did a Trailmakers episode earlier today. It went pretty smoothly. This is the second episode of anything that I'm putting together in DaVinci Resolve, and look, I'm getting the hang of it, and it's been going okay. So I'll bring you guys sort of back up to date again during another episode in the future to let you know how my evolving situation ends up, resolving itself, I guess. Haha, resolve. Anyway, yeah, enough of that. But yeah, there'll be more news in the future. But while I've been chatting away, we've been very, very productive in our Valheim episode. What's this? I'm doing news and a Valheim episode has broken out in the background. No, actually, it's the other way around. We've managed to make our cooking pot. We've managed to make our mead kettle. Now, in my previous playthrough, the Bog Witch hadn't kind of happened yet, and apologies that I never got back to the Bog Witch with that playthrough. As I indicated at the time, I got a bit sidetracked and a few things went wrong with me forgetting to record things, and I just wasn't that impressed with what I did end up coming up with, so it all kind of went in the bin, so to speak. So this time though, I will spend a bit more time when we get to the Bog Witch, and I'll just make sure we do a full exploration of that. In terms of other things that we've now got a level 3 forge because we've put down our anvils and our cooling. Oh, I've forgotten what it's called. That bucket thing anyway. We've got that down now. So we also upgraded our workbench. I believe I did that in the previous episode. And we are now in a situation where we can make some good stuff, including this bronze axe, which we are now upgrading to max level for what we can do at the moment, which is level 3. Now, that's a very important piece of kit, that axe. It's not so much that we're planning on using it as a weapon, although it is not a bad weapon at this level. It's more that we're going to be using that one to get... fine wood and core wood, because at the moment, or at least previously, the only way we could get either of those wood types was a bit dodgy and prone to wasting of time and or potentially turning said wood accidentally into charcoal if we didn't do it right. So yeah, it's better to do it in a more reliable fashion. So that's awesome to have. Now, in terms of other things that are awesome to have and pair up with the mead kettle, is we need our brew barrel. And I'm just sort of debating where to put this. Now, where I wanted to put it before outside was too far from the forge, and I didn't feel like spending the resources to make another forge. So yeah, let's just put it in the sleeping area for now. It's convenient to the kitchen. It doesn't, it's the sort of thing that you just load up and then check on it in a Valheim day or two's time once the brew is done. The rest of the time it just takes up space. So we've got a bit of free space here in the bedroom, so I thought, hey, why not? In the category of hey, why not, we're also deciding that we want some slightly better lighting. We have, at the moment, proportionally a bit of extra copper versus tin beyond what we would need to make an equivalent amount of bronze. So I decided to make a few of these copper sconces. I mean, they're only 2 copper bars each. They're a fairly minor cost at this stage. So we're putting a few of those around the place just to get our light levels up a bit. Most of the time I really wouldn't bother with this, but as I did with my previous playthrough, I just wanted to increase the light levels inside so I didn't have to rely on sort of post edits to try and make things lighter. Because anytime you do that, it does sort of, I don't know, it just looks a bit flat and gross, so I try not to do it when I can, and it kind of saves me some time in post when I don't have to do that. In terms of other things we're making a whole bunch of nails, so we've got spares if we need a new boat. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the upgrades that we're going to be able to do in terms of using immediately. Other things we're going to make though, we are going to start making a set of bronze armor. But I'm just pointing out there at the moment, the default bronze armor is only the same armor value as our level 2 troll gear. So, and there's the downside of how heavy it is and all the rest of it. Look, I'll go into more detail on that in a future episode. But for the moment, we've reached the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you have yourself an absolutely and positively an amazing day.